Nice. Greetings, everyone. It is January 28th, 2025. No Wendy's on yet. People hopping in. But Bradley Meyer and Chris Bagnell, and we're going to cover a lot of good stuff today. Chris, why don't you update us on your life, though? You had a lot of stuff going on, man.
Yeah, I just finished the CPA exam, the first part. There's 4 parts, so I've been studying a lot for that. So that's why I've been kind of absent. My cat is going crazy. I feel like every time I record or stream, he goes crazy. But yeah, I mean, I finally feel like I have my life back. Like that test drained me, but I've been like really active on X and just monitoring the market. I've increased my Bitcoin position substantially with the hopefully upcoming announcement on a Bitcoin reserve, and now it seems to be a crypto reserve. Like it's all over the place, and we'll see.
Yeah, the sentiment on Twitter is pretty negative right now, but there's been a lot of FUD, a lot of weird stuff going on right now. DeepSeek, right? We'll talk about that a little bit. Yeah. But there's a lot to be bullish about, man. Like we've got all these crypto executive orders coming in. It sounds actually very likely now that we might be, U.S.-based crypto companies might be exempt from capital gains tax. That would be quite interesting.
Yeah, that was, I don't know if you saw, but MicroStrategy is looking to do something because of that. I forget what they were saying, but he has to make, because he has like $1.7 billion in unrealized gains that he's going to have to pay taxes on. So I think he was going to issue more shares or something like that.
Okay.
So
he shouldn't be taxed on unrealized gains. That's crazy. That was something the last administration was going to do, I think, but we should be good there. No, I think what Trump is talking about doing is, so like if you own U.S. based
capital gains, not unrealized, just capital gains.
On capital gains, yeah. I don't know, man. There's a lot to be bullish about. Cynthia Loomis, big proponent of the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve, was appointed a position. I think we're up to like 8 or 9 states now that have introduced legislation for Bitcoin reserves. That's big news. And look, I talked about this on a recent update I did on my channel, but every 4 years in the market cycle, we tend to see the bottom happen in the second half of January. We're getting pretty close here to the end of January, and February is normally where we see things move up. So curious, what's your sentiment, Chris, and anyone in the comments?
I'm trying to find this post. It's probably in my likes if I can figure out how to get to it, because at work I'm just monitoring. I'm waiting for the announcement on what coins they're going to pick for the crypto reserve.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find it. But it was bullish about the Bitcoin. The Bitcoin reserve by Cynthia. She said that the plan is. Am I disconnecting here?
No, you're there. You're good.
Actually, it's fairly good. Okay, after I say this, I'm going to switch to Ethernet, so I'll drop out for a second. Mm-hmm. But the plan that she proposed it today on Fox Business, I believe. Mm-hmm. That the plan is over the next 5 years to acquire 200,000 Bitcoin a year. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you saw this. Uh-huh. Hold it for at least 20 years.
Yep.
And the goal is to cut the market or the
national debt in
half. And I was doing like spreadsheets today looking at the far end, conservative end. Like we're estimated to have debt of like $100 trillion in 2045 if we keep on the same path. Now I don't know what's going to happen, but I was just using estimates just to kind of see the price that Bitcoin has to be is well over $1 million for them to then sell it all and cut their debt in half. So I mean, the fact that she was saying that, like, I know these government people aren't like super into crypto, like a lot of the people probably watching this video have been for years, but they basically just said that they expect Bitcoin to go to an insane price, $1 million or $10 million, something.
Way more.
Yeah.
So I did on my channel, I put out a strategic reserve video back in December laying out the reasons why I thought it was coming. And that was one of the things I talked about. Now, I don't know that they're figuring in that the national debt's going to increase over that time. I think I did my math based on them assuming that it wouldn't go up. But if we buy 1 million Bitcoin, plus we're sitting on about 206,000 from mostly from Silk Road confiscation. But I believe the math came out to like $17 million per per Bitcoin to wipe out the current national debt, half of the current national debt, because we're up in the higher 30 trillions in debt at this point. So yeah, including that the Silk Road confiscation. So we'll see, man. Either way, I think if they do make the announcement, we're going to see a lot of positive price action with Bitcoin. Where do you think Bitcoin is going to go by the end of the year?
Dude, it better go up. I have so much money in Bitcoin, but I know it's not like compared to a lot of people watching, but I made some risks because I realized, I'm young and this is how people make money. Like I want to make generational wealth. I want to be able to not have to worry about paying my credit card bill every month. I think a lot of people share the same sentiment, and that's why these people are in crypto early. They've been in crypto for years. The people that are getting into crypto or that are still calling it a scam are missing the train. And it's the same thing that happened when they didn't buy Apple stock. They didn't buy Microsoft stock, Tesla stock. You can ask people and they will have the same form of story, but with a different company. And we're ahead of the game. Price of Bitcoin, I've been seeing, being in the space for as long as I have, I've seen that Bitcoin is supposed to go to $250,000 for years. And eventually they're going to be right? They have to be, but it's just a matter of time. I think realistically, here, I'll share CoinMarketCap. Oh, you're sharing your screen right now.
Exactly. This is where we're at, man. This is how I see it.
Exactly.
We're at this point, and I'm sure you're the same way. I have friends that, they're like, I don't want to hear you talk about crypto anymore. I'm like, fine, I won't talk about it. But we're getting close, I think, to the point where it's, everyone's like, you're investing in a scam to, oh, you got lucky.
No, you can check my YouTube channel. I've been making videos for a very long time.
Yeah. I think we're getting there, man.
I want to share this tab here because I think this is important, because I don't think a lot of people know this exists, especially if you only check CoinMarketCap, or even if you just go to Coinbase, you don't see the Fear and Greed Index, and they have one for crypto. It's CoinMarketCap's own Fear and Greed Index, similar to what you'd see in a stock market. You've been able to track this over, I think they've had it for like 2 years now, and see okay, are we overpriced right now? Are we looking at a market pullback or anything like that? You can click into it and see more information. But the huge thing right now, and this is something that I feel like if you go on X and you're looking at the posts by a lot of people, it seems like people are bearish. It seems like people are not into the market. They're saying it's going to die. But look at the price of Bitcoin right now. It's $101,000, and the Fear and Greed Index is neutral. It's neutral. Yeah. When it hit $100,000 the first time, when it was like 80,000, 90,000, we were looking at like 80% extreme greed. Like you can see it. You can see the price of Bitcoin, and we were in extreme greed. So as this is as bullish as it could possibly be right now. The fact that people think right now that it's fairly priced. In fact, it's probably going to go up. Like Bitcoin price isn't going to come down because the Fear and Greed Index is neutral. It's going to come down when it's extremely greedy, but it's not. It's not.
I know. People, what's crazy too is I saw something recently that was showing that retail has kind of moved out of the space right now, and it's mostly institutional buying. I think retail is going to come in droves. This is in the 4-year market cycle. We see a final shakeout in January before things really start to rip in February, is what we've seen in the past. Now, I'm not saying that's definitely going to happen again, but I would not at all be surprised if we see things bottom out. We have the FOMC meeting tomorrow. That's going to be interesting to see. Right now, the market's pricing in no rate cut.
Mhm.
That's kind of what I expect to happen. Trump's pushing for a rate cut, but it's not his call.
He seems to be having his way now, so I don't know. It might happen.
Well, Jerome Powell and him, I'm not sure they get along so well. But
yeah,
but either way, if they do cut rates, it can go either way. It could be looked at as bullish, but also, sometimes backfires. We see a market drop because people are like, okay, we weren't expecting this. What do they know that we don't know, kind of deal. So I would expect that we won't see a rate cut tomorrow, but I'm thinking we're getting pretty damn close to the bottom, man. I really do. And February, I'm hoping, but I think February could be a good month.
Well, continuing on that, I want to show you this website. I don't know if you've seen it before. Maybe even you showed me. This is bitcointreasuries.net. This website shows all of the public companies, all of their Bitcoin holdings, and their acquisitions. And one of the biggest things that I see, and I mean, you can see MicroStrategy obviously is one of the biggest. Pretty much anybody that's a public company can actually add their company to it. Like there's some companies that own 0 Bitcoin, but they're still on here because they might have owned it at one point. But the biggest one, like, yes, MicroStrategy, but scroll down here and you see this one called iShares Bitcoin Trust. Do you know who this is?
BlackRock, right?
Yes, it's BlackRock.
Yeah.
And they've been buying on average over the past 2 years, 3,200 Bitcoin a day, I believe.
And I think there's like 450 new Bitcoin are being mined per day. It's like 7 times what's being mined per day. Yeah. That's what people like. The amount of supply shock we're about to see is absolutely fucking nuts. Like,
we've never had this before.
No, the supply on exchanges it continues to be at an all-time low. I don't think the exchanges are going to have enough supply when things really, really hit and people quite understand what's happening. So yeah, everything's bullish. The sentiment on Twitter, it's like the most bipolar thing you'll ever see. Like, it could, in a week from now, everyone could be like euphoric, but it's certainly down right now. The DeepSeek situation, we'll touch on that here in a minute too. But I think things are getting fudded down. With some other news we'll touch on is some stuff with Binance that's going on with France. I don't think it's a big deal, but they're going to keep trying to keep the market down so that the smart money can accumulate, and then we'll see things take off. I think.
I want to show you this. This is a tweet I saw the other day, and I want to see your opinion on this because I don't know if you've seen this, but Coinbase, Binance, I think maybe even Kraken, but you can track, like, this is the thing where this is blockchain. You can see everything. You can't hide anything.
Mm-hmm.
They've been using this thing called Wintermute, which is used by exchanges, and they're using it to liquidate their longs and manipulate the prices. They've been doing this for a couple of weeks, at least for this past week. Who knows how long they've been doing it. And, now someone's just now catching it. But I mean, you can see the amount of money that is being liquidated.
Yeah.
So this is suppressing the price, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. There's nothing new, man. I mean, there's always manipulation of the market, and I think, they decide when they want to start pushing the narrative. And you start seeing the media, the commercials, everything. I mean, it's coming soon, but there's just so many things to be bullish about right now. Now let's talk about the DeepSeek thing.
Absolutely.
Because that news broke like Thursday or Friday. I was talking to my friends this week, and I'm like, look, the market's probably gonna get wrecked on Monday, because they built this LLM for $6.5 million. And yet not a chance, dude. What are your thoughts on it, Chris?
I saw it. Yeah, we talked a little bit before the stream started, but I saw it in the beginning of the week, I think. Whenever it started to gain traction, I think I saw it a little bit beforehand. And I saw that because it was made in China, there's like Chinese blocks on it. Like the filtering that China has in their own country is applied to this. So you're not allowed to search certain things. Like they were giving prompts. They were asking like, can you describe the photo of a man standing in front of a tank with a suit on?
Yes.
And then it started to describe, and then it auto filtered and said, can't find this information.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
just knowing from the past how China operates, as soon as I heard of that, and after Trump just announced like this massive AI infrastructure that he's planning on building, I was like, this is too good of a timing for it to be legit. There's definitely something not right. They only built it for $5 million. That could be possible because ChatGPT already has the technology and they just copied it. But like, no, it's not.
I don't believe
it's not
it. And the whole thing about them not having the NVIDIA GPU. So I want to play this. This was like back in December. This guy was talking about this. Y'all might have seen this, but
they have more H100s than
talking
people
about
think.
China.
You know,
and these are the highest powered NVIDIA chips that they were not supposed to have.
Yes. My understanding is that DeepSeek has about 50,000 H100s, which they can't talk about, obviously, because it is against the export controls that the United States has put in place. And I think it is true that, I think they have more chips than other people expect, but also on a go-forward basis, they are going to be limited by the chip controls and the export controls that we have in place.
Yeah. So, like, let's be real here. They did not build that for $6.5 million. Now, I'm not saying that it wasn't like a huge breakthrough. Okay. People were able to download this, run it locally. I think it's a potential problem for OpenAI and Microsoft, maybe. That is, if the U.S. doesn't cut it off. I think that Trump's going to put it in order. The U.S. Navy already came out today and said we're going to restrict it. We're not going to use it because they're like mining data from it. So
Yeah.
I think the FUD for me, I looked at it as a buying opportunity. I actually took a long position on NVIDIA when it dropped down to $118, I think. It's bounced up. We'll see if that continues. But for me, I think I looked at it as a buying opportunity. I think that they're full of shit as far as the cost. And I think they were using the high-powered NVIDIA GPUs myself.
I think it's funny. Well, two things. The price of one of those GPUs is $25,000. So if they have 50,000 of them, that's $1.2 billion. So I don't know where they got their little figure from. Maybe it was salaries. I don't know. But that, and also, oh man, what was I going to say? I had it. Oh yeah. Bitcoin. I feel like, I don't know, maybe because I was focusing on studying over the weekend, but I feel like Bitcoin and crypto itself didn't see a fall off on Sunday. It saw it. Let's see.
We saw Sunday night. We started seeing it, and then
I am wrong.
Yeah, we've seen it drop.
But it's interesting. Yeah.
And then the other thing that's coming up, this just kind of broke, and this is the Binance news I was talking about. So France is investigating Binance for money laundering and tax fraud. So that's some more FUD they're going to throw out there. We might see further pullback. FOMC's tomorrow. Who knows what's going to happen with that. But again, I'm looking at these as opportunities to add to my conviction plays. And we'll run through some of the DePIN. I know you guys want to hear about the DePIN stuff. So we'll run through the projects, what's going on with some of those. So updates there. What's that?
Two more bullish things.
Yeah,
the first one is not entirely bullish, but Coinbase is now in Argentina. So that's something that kind of slips under the radar. Obviously, people in the US, that doesn't apply to us at all, but it's cool because they are now expanding, and now that's an entire country, it's entire GDP that is now able to buy crypto. That's big.
It's massive.
The other thing, clear my throat here. I don't know if anyone's been following this, but Trump just appealed the SAB number 121, which defines what crypto means to banks. And this is going to allow banks. Bank of America is the one that's been really pushing this to allow people to hold digital assets in their bank account. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's going to also enable people to take out loans against their crypto assets. And there's also talk that Bank of America has been using XRP for their internal transactions for some time now. So that's super interesting as well. I think we're going to see an XRP. I think we're going to see a Solana ETF as well.
That Solana ETF's already been filed. Same with Litecoin.
Yeah, that one
6 months, I think.
The Solana one I thought has been filed for a while because I thought it was supposed to come up in like March, sometime this spring. So I expect that that's going to get passed. There's a period of time where it wasn't expected, but considering Trump launched his freaking meme coin on Solana, like, are you kidding me? So I think Solana ETF's coming.
Definitely going to be priority for that chain.
No doubt about it, man. No doubt about it.
One other thing, I know I said that already, but the thing that's interesting about BlackRock owning this much Bitcoin, if you look at all the companies that BlackRock is a part of, all the like pretty much any public company BlackRock owns, and it's very rare that a company that BlackRock owns actually files for bankruptcy. So when BlackRock invests, BlackRock believes. Now, that being said, this Bitcoin technically isn't BlackRock's, it's customers because they're buying shares of this. But do you really think when somebody sells their share of Bitcoin that BlackRock is then going to sell this Bitcoin? No, they're using this as a way to acquire as much Bitcoin as fast as possible. They're using other people's money. I don't know how many times you guys have heard this, but I've heard this my entire life. The best way to make money is to use someone else's. Take out a loan, finance something. Don't use your own. This is what they're doing. They're really good at it. They're the wealthiest company, I don't even know what you would call them, in the world.
How much are they holding right now?
575,597.
That's the total that they're holding?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see, I mean, this goes back all the way to their first purchases in 2024 is when they started this.
Yeah.
And they've had a couple days, like some days in 2024 for sure. Like they bought almost every day of the year. This year, I don't know what the strategy is, but what they've been doing, maybe just they've understood fees better. They haven't been buying every day, but when they do buy, they're buying in a lot larger batches. Like you can see 22,000. This was the end of last year, but 36,000 Bitcoin they bought in one day. Like it's a lot of Bitcoin.
Easy. Yeah, they've got a pretty high percentage. I mean, for some reason I thought they had more, but even at 500,000, that's $58 billion. It's like 2.5% of the total supply. I don't know why I thought they had more, but
and when people are telling you that crypto is a scam and stuff, like I would bet you $58.62 billion that those people that say it's a scam are also invested on the stock market in companies that BlackRock is invested in. And if BlackRock believes in something, that's pretty sure sign that it's going to be doing well. They've been acquiring a lot more running up until the election. As you can see, it ramped up insanely. They're anticipating a Bitcoin reserve. Everyone's anticipating it.
Yeah.
I don't know how the price is staying the same. Blows my mind.
I don't know. It is. I think they're manipulating. I think they're keeping it down. Also, like, again, we talked about this. I think, once retail really re-enters, I think we're going to see things start to really move. One of the things too, with this, by the way, with this NVIDIA thing, or DeepSeek, it sounds like the cost for inference might come down and might need less computational power for that. If that is true, I think that's very bullish for these decentralized GPU aggregators with DePIN, because frankly, a lot of them don't have the, aside from exhibits, they don't have like the highest end GPUs, and they don't have like thousands of them in one location. But for some of these aggregators, I think if inferencing can be done on lower end GPUs, that's a huge advancement. Like Nosana is one. I had it right here.
I'm honestly surprised Flux isn't. I mean, maybe they are in the talks with the government because they have so much GPU power on a crypto network that could be applied towards this stuff. But I've never heard of Nosana. So
Nosana is a great project. I mean, they just had their mainnet. I covered this originally at 2 cents. So back in November of like 2023. It got up to it got to $8. So it did a 400x at one point. But I think this thing could definitely run 106 million market cap. Like I think these GPU aggregators, if this news is true regarding DeepSeek, I think it could be actually a good thing in that case for some of these aggregators. The one I'm really I'm doing the research for my video right now is Exhibits. That's one to keep your eye on. Let me pull that up. This is probably the most legitimate GPU aggregator in the DePIN space in Web3.
I think we talked about this last stream, I believe.
Yeah. So check this out. They've built a team they all have backgrounds in building out data centers. They haven't launched their token yet. Their token launch is coming in Q1, but they basically are able to get access to these data centers with 1,000 or more like H100s, H200s. Sorry, and if you look at the companies, they're basically building the backbone for all of the really high end GPU aggregators, and the other projects are using them. So like, look at Aether, IONET, Render, a cache network. They're all sourcing their GPUs through exabytes. So when they launch their token, you can essentially get exabytes and get exposure to all these other ones. Like they also have their own GPUs, but they're not like the data centers that can actually do AI training. That's why they're all turning to exabytes, because exabytes actually has the personnel to get in with these data centers, these AI ready data centers. So in doing my research, I didn't realize this, but like to have 1,000 or more GPUs in one data center and be really fine tuned for AI training, there's only like 10 of them that exist in the US and 5 in Southeast Asia, and they have ends with them. So Exabits is going to be a super legit project. And again, every other GPU aggregator in DePIN is going to be turning to, they already are, to access their GPUs. So this is a very legitimate project to keep your eye on.
Are they're not mainnet yet?
No,
right?
no.
Like just starting out.
Yes, their token launch. They're marketing, and that's one thing I like about them. A lot of these other GPU aggregators, like they're really good at marketing.
Yeah.
And this, I wouldn't have even known about them. I went to Consensus and I stopped at their booth, and I've just been keeping an eye on them. But they've got a lot of Twitter followers, and if you look at their accounts, so they've been doing it the right way. They haven't just like been marketing the shit out of their project. They've been building a community like naturally. They got over 100,000 followers on Twitter.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's definitely a project I'm planning on taking a substantial position in. So it's not only that they have access to the data centers, their team, they've also developed software that can run these GPUs far more efficiently as well and get the most out of them and really fine tune them. So I think Xbits is like a super legit project.
So they have these GPUs already?
Yeah, they added, I'm trying to think. I just made an announcement about they added, I forget how many thousands of GPUs to their
just
network.
Added 4,000 H200s.
Yeah, that's freaking crazy. Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot of money being added to the project, and it's not even launched yet.
Exabits is legit, man. So watch out for that token. Arweave is the one I'm adding to the most right now.
I got some based on your financial advice.
None of this is financial advice, y'all. Okay. But I have been adding to Arweave. Dude, they hit they had over 1 billion transactions in December alone. That's the most activity they've seen. They have AO, which is basically so Arweave is, the kind of the baseline blockchain, right? They do permanent storage on their blockchain. AO, you can build projects on top of Arweave's infrastructure. AO is having their mainnet on, I think, February 8th. And they've already built a ton of projects. But here's the thing that's crazy. They got over 1,000 transactions per second. Okay, so you don't see that with other blockchains, dude. Arweave and AO, this whole ecosystem is going to freaking explode, I think. And if you look at the price,
it's not, dude. Everything right now is just like, I've seen this before. I wish I had more money to put into all of this stuff.
Arweave's supply is almost all in circulation. They've actually burned some, so it's fully circulating. $834 million market cap. The all-time high on this thing, it got up to, in the last market cycle, like almost $80. So
I've never seen a market cycle that was lower than the prior market cycle.
because we still have the markets, the last leg
Yeah,
up in front
that's
of us.
why
Man.
people have no clue what they're talking about. This is the first time, like, there's this mythical super cycle that people have been tossing around the idea of this happening for years, probably since the dawn of, well, probably since the first bull run, but it really started gaining traction, I think, in 2017 and then in 2020. This idea that there's this super cycle that's going to be so much greater than all the ones before. And a lot of people thought it was going to be the one during 2020 and 2021 because of the stimulus checks, everyone staying home, and a lot of people being online. It gave crypto more footing because what else are you going to do? You can't go outside. You can't do all the stuff that you're used to doing. So people are stuck glued to their computer. They learned about GameStop. That whole thing happened. And then Bitcoin rallied, and people thought that was going to be it. But this cycle, and I'm not trying to give financial advice. I just want to say that. I know we said this before, but there's 52 people watching right now. But this cycle, obviously, you follow past trends. So Bitcoin hits an all-time high. It dies down a little bit. The money flows down to other coins, and then you have altcoin season. That's what's happened in the past. I'm not saying that's not going to happen. What I'm saying is this is the first time ever that Bitcoin has hit an all-time high, and it hasn't been around for a while. Bitcoin has hit an all-time high before the halving. This has never happened before, and it has kind of set things. There's just a different feeling out there, especially with the way that Trump is handling it all, like it or not, like the guy or not. The fact that he's staying true to his word right now with a lot of the crypto stuff. He freed Ross Ulbricht. There's a lot that's been going on. He already announced a crypto reserve. If the U.S. decides to start this, they're going to legitimize the entire space. Yes, there's shit coins, meme coins, but they're going to legitimize the space, and then it's going to, in my opinion, it's going to become a race for all these G20 countries. Is that the right saying? G20?
Well, there's G7, there's G20, depends on it.
Yeah, all of them to acquire Bitcoin, because if the U.S. owns it, they want to own a part of it too, because they think it's going to bring the wealth up. Together. So I don't know. Maybe this is the super cycle.
Well, here's one thing that I'm realizing though about this market cycle, and I do believe that the total crypto market cap is going to be much larger than the last one. That said, there's so many more projects than there were in the last market cycle, and the all the money is being dispersed much more widely across more projects, and that's one thing we need to realize. And that's why it's not just as easy as just throwing money in any of the projects and they're all going to just pump at the same time. I think it's going to be a little bit different. I think you're going to have to be a little bit more conscious and do a little bit more research and find legitimate projects. And in my personal plan and what I've been doing is, I have a fair amount of Bitcoin. Okay. Yeah. So I have a good percentage there. I have my DePIN projects that I've been building positions in for the last 4+ years that I have high conviction for, that I've covered in my videos, that I've interviewed their CEOs, whatever. And then I have like 5% that I use to like mess around with the current narrative, whether that's the AI agents. Right now I've been in the trenches and meme coins. I hate the meme coins, but I'm like, you know what? The narrative, it's a small percentage, but I'm like, there's going to be certain mini cycles in different sectors. You might as well try to hit on some of them with a small percentage and hit big where the money's flowing at that time. And I siphon off profits into my conviction plays, as I make money off those. So I actually have one play I'm in. I'll touch on at the end here that I think could be really interesting, but that's how I'm playing it is, again, small percentage looking at what's the rotation. Yeah. F meme coins. I agree. F meme coins, but DePIN, man, DePIN and Bitcoin, that's where the vast majority of my portfolios and again, the conviction plays. And you can't it's not just, shotgun approach, man, that you have to be a little bit more strategic about it. What's your high conviction plays right now, Chris? I have a couple more. I want to cover some details.
Oh, like coins that I'm bullish on, you mean?
Yeah. Like DePIN projects.
Oh, DePIN specifically?
Well, it doesn't have to be DePIN, whatever.
Well, it's like the job that I have. I'm an accountant. For people that don't know who I am, I do accounting, tax accounting, and I work with a lot of people that understand money, but they don't really understand crypto. So it's kind of unique because they're also have income and they want to learn about this stuff. And I'm stuck in this building for 8 hours a day. So I've been talking to them about this kind of stuff, and they're looking at coins and they're like, oh, this coin could go up to $10. Dogecoin can go up to $10. Like, they just say stuff. And I kind of explain to them, like, well, if that ever happens, or when that ever happens, because I'm not saying it can't happen, but if that happens, the amount of money that inflows into the market is going to make that the other coins go up as well. So, I mean, there's a lot of coins above Dogecoin that can go up in value substantially, even though, I mean, if you're looking at long term, what we were talking about earlier, that them thinking that Bitcoin is going to go up to like $100 million because it's going to be able to pay off half of the US debt. That's a lot of money that isn't in the market yet. So there's a long way to go, and it depends on whether or not you want to make short-term plays or long-term plays. And you got to look at some of these projects. How long have they been around, and how much potential do they have? Like, really, when you look into the fundamentals of it, some of these coins that have been around for a very long time don't offer anything. Some of them have been around for a long time. I'll bring up one. I don't know a lot of people if they know this coin, because this was long ago. It's called Lucky Coin. The blockchain stopped, and then a group of pretty much people in the community came back and they relaunched this token, and they continued the block. So I think the last block was in like 2017. So there was a gap, but not really, because they started the next block immediately after, and they launched this token again. But what does this token do? Like, there's tokens like that, but yes, it's been around for a long time, but it literally died, it halted, and then people restarted it. It doesn't have a lot of potential, and people are throwing their money into stuff like this. Same thing with meme coins. I mean, if you go on pump.fun, there's like, maybe they're using AI agents, but anytime, what's the guy, the Tate guy, Cobra Tate, I forget his name. Anytime some of these celebrities tweet, there's maybe it's an AI agent or something, it automatically turns their tweet into a meme coin. It's crazy stuff. So there's a lot of places to lose money. Now, without that out of the way, without me yapping, getting out of the way, I have the Wayru that I'm waiting for the main net. Silencio just had their main net, which I think I made like $60 on. Grass is one that I'm in, because like I think it's really awesome to have Andrew Tate. Yeah, that's his name. I think it's really awesome to have projects that anybody can get into for free, which is why, like, I made a video on Silencio, even though not a lot of people are a fan of it, myself included. I'm like kind of on the edge. Like, when it comes down to it, really, who wants this data? But the fact that it gives everybody an equal playing field, that they can participate and earn this money for free. Like, when people come to me and they want to know about projects they can get in on, I'll tell them about the free projects first, because a lot of people don't want to spend money. They just want to make money. So with that, Grass, Wayru, Arweave, Render, AIOZ I had for a while, but I got rid of it. Dude, there's so many. Demo, Hive Mapper. I'm really looking forward to the Hive Mapper devices actually shipping out. I reached out to Ariel, but I don't know if he saw my message or anything. It'd be cool to get my hands on one of them to make content on, to show people. Like, I think it's so important for a project when they release a device, especially with Hive Mapper, because I feel like they don't have like a good presence with YouTubers now after the like the affiliate fiasco.
Yes.
If they were to get these devices in the hands of people that can create content on them, that like their project, it would help them. Because, I mean, being able, I know me personally, I'm sure there's people watching, when you buy something, like, you're excited for it to get here, you end up watching a YouTube video on it to see what it's like, because you want to know everything about this thing before you get it.
For sure.
Like, I know people are going to want to see that video, but we'll see. I mean, it would be awesome to get those things.
He says they're shipping. I haven't seen any in the community that's confirmed, but
any. I think they might all be fleets. They have to be.
So speaking of Hive Mapper and Demo, let's see. Oh, by the way, I agree. KMFA. I want to talk about that here.
Demo is like, Someone said earlier, unleashing
Right?
DePIN. There's a stark disconnect between what's happening versus price.
There's
action.
no
You
doubt
guys-
about it. That's like the best example. Arweave is another one, but Demo is a great example of this. But here's some drama for you guys. So HiveMapper, apparently they had a big week. Okay, so
I
they
didn't see that last sentence earlier.
yeah.
Oh,
So he
man.
responded to a Demo tweet. And he said, look, we have all these new customers. He also claims, by the way, they have one they're going to publicly announce. So that's huge. But then he said, meanwhile, threw a shot at Demo. Demo keeps running its mouth without receipts. I'm like, what provoked that? Because I looked at the original tweet. They didn't even call out HiveMapper. So I'm not really sure where that came from. But shots fired, apparently. Either way, like, look, HiveMapper, we keep seeing these weird spikes. I don't know where that's coming from, but
People finding wallets that they forget about. That's probably what it is.
And then they have, but if they have customers, we'll see. I want to see them publicly announce them. That would be great. They have burned tokens. I looked at it earlier. I think they burned like 20 million tokens, something like that. Their supply is massive, so it's not like huge, but if they can publicly announce some customers, that'll be big. Now, talking about Demo, because I think, these guys are spot on. There's this big difference between what's happening versus price action. The chart is ugly as hell on Demo. There's no doubt about it.
All the charts look way rougher than. I just feel like everything is underpriced, honestly.
I agree, especially with Demo, because, look at this. They have 158,000 vehicles connected now. For me, though, the thing I'm looking at mostly is this developer licenses. So they opened up their developer launchpad back in August.
Going up, man.
And look at this. So, this back in August, we saw a little bit of a bump. They moved to base recently. They have now, just in the last month, really, you see they've jumped up now to how many developer licenses that? Let's see. So they're up to like 168. Just a month ago, they're like 57. So they've more than doubled their developer licenses. So these are developers building applications in the Demo ecosystem that will connect to vehicles. That's massive, man. Like, I think it's just a matter of time. I've interviewed both Alex and Rob on my channel, both super smart guys. And they're like super bullish on where the revenue is going to go this year. So I think people are sleeping on Demo. Someone said, I thought it was mostly Teslas. There are a lot of Teslas because they can connect for free if you look at the chart.
And they're adding, a lot of vehicles with apps are able to be added. Yeah, that chart shows you all of the. Oh, that's so funny that Fisker's on there.
I don't know.
I don't know if you guys know about that, but Fisker filed for bankruptcy. It's a EV company, so it's funny that they're supported. Can you?
So 20% of the vehicles are Tesla. So I wouldn't say most of the vehicles, but I would say that a large percentage are because they can connect for free, and they have a direct API into Tesla. But there's a good spread here. I think Demo is incredibly, personally, not financial advice, undervalued. I have 250 vehicles in my fleet. Like
Nice.
So I do think. So it doesn't give me any information about my car. Yeah, man. Like they're upgrading the app, but that's the thing. Like they are basically pulling the data so that you can use it in different ways. That's not the point. Is not for the app to be able to give you a bunch of information. That's one app for Demo. Their plan is to have hundreds of different applications
all those
that you can very easily connect to, that the developers in an open environment can build for the vehicle. It's not, the Demo app is not like the big picture here. That's like a small thing. Man. So I think the things are coming together. The network infrastructure is being built out, and I believe that people are sleeping on it because they don't quite understand what they're trying to do here. So we'll see, man. We'll see what happens. Do you pull up?
Do you see exact dates on that granted license over time? Like, can you click into that chart? It looks like when you hover over. Okay,
yeah.
Cool. So the last time we streamed was January 10th.
Yeah, so they're at 133 there. So they've added just in the last few
2 weeks.
They've added over 30.
30, yeah. That's pretty rapid. I mean, you can see clearly the chart was slow and it's going straight up now.
It's huge. And their team is committed, y'all. They put out their token unlocks. They pushed them out willingly. I don't know any other project that's done that, where they're like, no, wait, we're committed. We're going to push our token unlocks, I think, like a number of years.
Yeah.
So that's pretty big.
I think it's 2 years.
I believe so. Yeah. And then GeoNet, man, God, this project's been freaking awesome, man.
They've been.
This They're just
out of the
unbothered by the
projects.
market. They've just completely decoupled from the market. It's crazy. You know, in looking in,
It doesn't even make sense.
yeah. So they all had the spike last spring, but it's just like, dude, I bought a lot back in August. I added a ton of my
I've just been mining it all. I mean, every single GeoNet token I've gotten for free, but it sucks because I'm doing the hosting, so I only get 25%. So times my earnings by 70, or I guess by 4, I missed out on quite a lot. I should have just bought the device. GeoNet is such a good project that just works.
It is, and half of their stations are getting daily use, and it's just like they have this consolidation pump up. The market is getting wrecked, and it's just like, nah, we're just gonna chill. Like we're not gonna pull back. And then the token burns are very transparent. Like look at this.
Yeah, they make
burn
an announcement in Discord every time they burn tokens, and it happens frequently.
Over 1% of the supply has been burned so far. Over 10 million tokens have been burned out of supply forever. Okay, so like this project is making moves, and I just what's the market cap on this guy? 72 million.
That's pennies. That's pennies going into January or going into February.
If we do have, like, you look at the last market cycle, y'all, like, and again, this is not a prediction that this is going to happen, but you look at like Helium got to, I think, 4.7 billion. Okay, so like,
$50.
let's say if this thing got to, let's just say it did, and again, this is not financial advice, but let's say it did get to $1 billion. You're talking about like a 14x from here, man. Like, are you kidding me? I have built a big position.
Thank you, please, and thank you.
Yes. What other projects should we cover? Oh, I want to talk about DABA. That's what I'm doing a lot. I met with their team.
One in India, right?
Yes. So I had a call. This is freaking wild, man. I had a call with their team. I'm going to put a video on. I'm going to interview their CEO here in a couple of weeks. This one's flying under the radar. They haven't had their token launch yet, but okay, some shocking statistics. Okay, in India, they use more data than any other country.
Like more per people person. Than any other country, right?
There are, but only 5% of them have broadband. They're all using cell plans, dude. So like a lot of them are buying 2 SIM cards just to have enough data on a month-to-month basis. So what DABA is doing is basically, if you want to buy a hotspot, then you just invest. You own the hotspot, but then they have LCOs. They have professional deployers that will go and install it for you where it's needed. So they're actually already selling out the subscription service. And basically, you're just filling that spot by buying a hotspot. So you get paid tokens. You pay out a percentage to, someone said, I love that manages deployment. I agree. Because here's the deal. And this is, I think, where a lot of DePIN projects are going to go. They're putting in only useful deployments that are going to get usage. With other ones that we've seen in the past, you have oversaturation in certain areas. You have coverage built in areas that it's not necessary. DABA, like, the market they're about to capture is so freaking massive, and the way they're doing it is genius. So they were an internet service provider in India for 8 years. So they have an in with the government. So they worked on crafting the legislation around the build out of the broadband network with the government. And here's how it's worked so far. So they have the internet comes in from the ocean on both sides of India, and they have it all built under the infrastructure, under the highways and under the railroads. The problem is getting it from the highways and the railroads into the towns, because once it's in the towns, they have all the LCO. So the way it works is they have small companies in every town that deploy access, and they have ends with all of these different providers. They're all like miniature providers of internet and the TV services. That mid-mile, getting it from the highway into the towns has been very difficult. But they worked with Google using this laser technology. Okay, so this is the same way that Starlink satellites communicate with each other. They have a point-to-point laser system that DABA has created that for very cost-effectively, where they can set up a laser at the highway and beam it over to the town, and they can avoid having to dig up and build out infrastructure underground. So what would take for that mid mile, getting it from the government infrastructure at the highway to the town, would normally take 5 to 10 years and hundreds of millions of dollars. They can now do this with this laser system in a matter of 2 to 3 weeks with a 5-person crew for a few $100,000. So they're going to be able to build out the infrastructure. They have it in with the government. They know all the LCOs that install everything. And you as an investor could just buy the hotspot and it's maintained for you. So all these LCOs, they're in charge of maintaining, make sure that your hotspot stays up. If it doesn't, they don't get paid their tokens. And if they don't do a good enough job, they get kicked out of the program. So, dude, this project is going to be massive. And it's going to be, I think, a perfect example of the power of DePIN. Like, I think there's gonna be case studies written about this thing. And
yeah,
5% of them have broadband right now. So the other thing that they're looking at is now that they're going to be able to bring broadband to all these people, it's going to be a layer 0. They're already teaming up with like a WeatherXM, so where now they have network connectivity. I know they've had discussions with GeoNet. So as their internet gets built out, they'll be able to layer on other DePIN projects. So you could basically go to DABA and be like, okay, click these different projects you want to deploy at that, and it'll be professionally deployed for you. Dude, I think DABA is going to be massive.
Yeah. The only concern I have is I feel like, well, maybe not, because it's a different administration. The SEC is different now and everything. Well, also not in the US, but it's tricky because you're pretty much buying something and you're spending money and you're just getting a return for not doing anything. So hopefully there's no issues there, because I've seen that happen before, where especially with like the NFTs, they were trying to define them as securities. If you bought like an NFT that provided a return. But maybe it's different because it actually provides something. I think it's exciting. I also can understand 619's.
Yeah, so what happens if they get kicked out? If the LCO gets kicked out of the program, you'll be able to go on their website and choose a different LCO, or they'll set you up with another LCO. So the ones they're starting with are ones that are tried and true. They've worked with, and they have a very extensive vetting process before they bring on these installers to make sure that they're going to do a good job. So you'll be able to choose which one you want to deploy with. And then if one's doing a bad job and does get kicked out, they'll have replacements for you to choose from that can pick up the slack for you.
Yeah, that's not only going to bring internet to India, but it's also going to bring jobs. Like these people, because if a company is bad and they get booted, another company has to come in. You got to train people. It's good.
You know something else? Like 70% of their population is under the age of 30.
Wow,
which is a freaking wild statistic. Yeah, so like the homeowners will have their own internet access, and then it also will push public Wi-Fi signal out onto the streets. And they're saying like a lot of these people, their jobs are like delivery drivers or couriers, so they're on the streets. They'll be able to now access internet. I think it is like a unicorn because they have a massive market to tap into. They said that they're projecting that it's going to be a $60-70 billion market. But it's right.
I see what you're saying. India.
Yeah. They have, okay. So I think it's something like 150 million internet connection or hotspots in the US. I think China has Asia has like 600 million. And India has 30 million, and they have a massive population. They have a huge market. They have the money to pay for it. So they have GDP that they can pay for the internet. And I think that DABA, because they have the connections to the government, they have the means to build out the infrastructure in a cost-effective way, and they know the LCOs. They have all the pieces for it to be just a massive project. So super excited to see where that one goes.
There was a project a while ago that was not similar to DABA, but similar in the fact that it was called 2 blocks, that you would only be able to place a camera. They had cameras to map the street or something like that, and it could only go in businesses, but they had to pick the businesses that it went in. So it wasn't like open to everyone. It didn't work out because they couldn't do it in the US, and then there was privacy laws in the EU they couldn't get around and everything. But this is definitely, they've definitely learned from mistakes from previous projects, which is a good thing. I mean, it's good. It sucks when a project fails, but if it's a project that kind of had good fundamentals, projects can pick up from that and move forward and make something better. I mean, that's
no doubt about it.
not even just crypto. That's everything, businesses, everything. Bad pizza place, new pizza place opens up. They have better sauce. They sell better pizzas.
No doubt about it.
Survival of the fittest.
All right.
81 people watching right now. Oh, it just bumped down to 79. That's incredible.
Pretty good turnout considering it wasn't even scheduled. We just kind of decided to do it last minute. So I have, again, I've been spending a lot of time in the meme coin trenches. I hate meme coins, but I do want to talk about one that I have positioned, and I'm going to talk about why. So you all know Pump.Fun. It's arguably one of the most successful platforms that's launched. We've had millions of meme coins launched on it. There is a token that came up on my radar called Community Coin. Okay. It is on Pump.Fun. It was created, though, if we look at the date here, January 17th, 2024. Pump.Fun launched on January 19th. So this was created by the developers of Pump.Fun.
Oh.
2 days prior. It was under wraps for a year. It was hidden because if you go to the Pump.Fun website, it doesn't show up. If you search Comcoin, you have to actually put in the URL with the coin address. It didn't surface until it bonded like 4 days ago.
Oh. Okay,
so it's been under wraps for over a year. So it was created by their developers prior to Pump.Fun launching. Back in, Alan is the creator of Pump.Fun. So back in October, someone posted this first under this name. I don't know if that's him or not, but I do know this much. The developer note when it was created was please serve for the community. So this is it's kind of like this Easter egg hidden coin from the Pump.Fun team.
Okay,
and
fine, I'll buy it.
Just surfaced. So like if you look at the market cap right now, it's like 343,000. It's been, I started bidding at like 20,000 back on like Friday night, and it pumped up to over $1 million. It's back down now. It's consolidating. Look, I will say meme coins are very risky, and there's millions of them that have been launched, but this does have a unique story behind it, and it is built by the Pump.Fun team for sure. The developers 2 days prior to the official launch, and I think there's a good story behind it. And it is like a community coin built for the community. So I don't know. We'll see where it can go. Just like any meme coin, it can die in an instant, but I think that there could be a lot of potential upside, especially from a 300,000 market cap. There was one other token that was created for him, and what he didn't even create it. If we pull it up, Elon. So this one, someone created for the guy. Okay, he didn't even create it himself. It got up to, let's see,
almost 2 cents.
Yeah, it got up to 100. Is it 18 million, or is this the right one? Oh, that's the right one. It might be. There's one that was created for him that wasn't even, he didn't even make, that he endorsed. Basically, it got up to, I think, a $250 million market cap. Wow. And it's sitting around 50 million now. I know that much. So, yeah, man. So I think there's some potential there. We'll see. We'll see. Not to say that it's going to happen. Just like I said, anything is risky when it comes to, especially meme coins. But
yeah, we covered last stream we did, like going on CoinMarketCap, comparing the charts now, like the top 100 to the top 100 previous. Like there was a time when Helium was in the top 100 and it was like 98. Every coin above it was like a real project. If I scroll down right now, get into like the 80s, 90s, so like Fartcoin is 99. Like, come on, are we serious here?
Yeah, that's crazy. It's absolutely ridiculous.
There's a lot of stuff that's in here that is not going to be here once the money comes.
Someone made a copycat, by the way. This is the wallet address for the one I'm in. But anyway, but yeah, I agree, man. It's actually wild. Well, for what, Chris? What did Fartcoin get up to at one point?
I'll look at it. It was really high up. It's at 84 cents right now. It got up to $2.55. I think I saw a post on X and it said if you bought Fartcoin this week or last week, you would have outperformed the entire stock market since like 1934. You had like a 504,000% increase. It was insane. It's like I was trading meme coins for a bit. Me and 619 were doing it for a bit, and there was coins like in the beginning I'd sell them all. We would both do it, and then a couple days later, it would go way higher than what we had. It were like shit. Like we made $50. We could have made $500. Like really big increases, and so what I ended up doing was just keeping a small bit of all of them because you never know. Like Fartcoin, literally holding $1 of Fartcoin would have turned into like over $500,000. So
yep, exactly. I mean, that's it though. It's just a lottery pick. So like that's why for me, like, man, I hate meme coins, but if I find something like this that has lore, right, and it has a good story behind it, like I'm like, all right, I mean that's interesting. And a 300,000 market cap, like, and who knows, man? You see these things. We saw that Vine one. If that thing pumped to a 100 million market cap, you're talking about 300x. Like, and that is something that could happen. But again, for every million, only one does it.
Look at the Trump. And the Melania coin and Shiba Inu and Dogecoin and Bonk, like they're. I mean, I don't know exactly what's going on with the Trump coin. I don't know if it's a meme or not, but the other ones, like those are meme coins, and they stuck out because they had a unique story, like the one you just said. So, did you get in on Trump coin at all? Oh yeah. I made some money. I did too. I was in North Carolina visiting friends, and I saw it pop up on my Twitter. I'm like, what? And I took a position at like $4. I think I cashed out like around 60. So I did nice return on that. I think I bought in at 20 and cashed out at 60. I'm still holding half of one because I had this feeling. Because this was like right before he got into the office. I was like, what if this is the coin that they turn into the crypto reserve, or what if there's like a reward incentive for holding this for a certain. So I kept a little bit just because it never hurts to keep one or two coins. Obviously, if it's Bitcoin, it's hard to keep a whole coin, but just always hold a tiny amount. You want to make sure that this is what I do. It's not financial advice. But I never, unless it's like a coin where I'm like, all right, this is literally wasting my time. I try to always hold like a little bit because you never know. Like you literally stuttering. You literally never know what's going to happen. Like Ethereum Classic is a good one because I'm looking at it right now. Ethereum Classic last bull run went insane. Bitcoin Cash last bull run went super high. BNB currently $700, but Ethereum Classic went all the way up to $133, and I had a boatload of them, like so much, at around $4, and I sold it right before it went up. So didn't make that mistake twice. Now I have quite a bit. Like I want to make sure that I'm spread. So when something pops, I'm not missing out on it. Because there's been so many projects, man. There's so many projects I've missed out on because I've sold too early. Or like Helium, I sold like a year too late. And of course, now Helium is making a little bit of a comeback with their price. Yeah, let's take a look at that, actually. That's a good point. Yeah. Dude, like, again, I have 5% that I use to chase the narratives. So like right now I'm back in the meme trenches just because Trump launched his meme coin and we saw money funnel back in. I still think that the AI agent narrative's coming back. So virtuals is way down right now. I've been purchasing a lot of the virtuals agents. I think Creator Bid's another one. There's some good ones out there. I do believe that we're going to see that come back again. So
right now, and no one's talking about it, it's the time to look at that stuff. Really, it's how I'm handling
Everyone's
it.
focused on DeepSeek.
Yeah. Let's take a look at helium here. Damn, well,
It's actually not doing too well.
No, it's back down again. Granted, it got down to $1.20 back in the bear market, but I mean, look, let's look back a little bit. It's been getting kind of wrecked. I think this is undervalued, really. I mean, they went back to the AT&T token.
Yeah, I think they had like that massive dip right there is because of the SEC thing that just happened. I don't know if anyone following that is watching, but they came under the scope of the SEC because I forget the reasoning. It was total BS, and like the whole DePIN space kind of got behind helium, even though a lot of people think helium it's a business. At the end of the day, people make bad business decisions sometimes, like them choosing to go to the IoT and then go to the mobile token, and then now they want to go back. Like that, it sucks. It really
I actually think I'm good. I think it's good you brought that up. Because it does have actually implications for all of DePIN, depending on what happens here. And this is kind of like a final FU by Gary Gensler. He can go fuck himself. That guy sucks. So he basically on his way out dropped this lawsuit or investigation into helium. I think it'd probably been ongoing for a while, to be honest. Though
they just publicized it.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens now. Here's the deal. Trump's like crypto guy. David Sachs is an early investor in Hivemapper. I think he has exposure to some DePIN projects. That's good. And then I think like GeoNet has, spoken in front of Congress and stuff. So I think that, I mean, if they're trying to find the parts of crypto that have real utility, I mean, DePIN is like the one that has tremendous utility. And if they're trying to weed out the BS, then I mean, you would think that they would react favorably towards DePIN. Now, I think this actually could be the catalyst that makes the rotation in DePIN happen. If this helium thing gets dropped and then they start highlighting, actually, DePIN it has utility behind it, that could actually be the spark that that starts to push the rotation into the DePIN, into the utility side of things. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Who knows? I don't know when that's going to actually be decided on, but
this happened 10 days ago.
Yeah, it was pretty recent. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But man, I don't know. I'm just waiting. We haven't seen the rotation. We saw it last spring. We saw some projects take off. I think Demo got up to 70 cents. We saw, Hivemapper make some pretty big moves.
Yeah.
But we haven't really seen a huge rotation into DePIN. I think it is. I do believe it is coming. Again, that's where I have a large percentage of my portfolio in these conviction plays. But we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think DePIN, it pops off at different projects pop off at different times compared to the rest of the market, where like traditional coins just follow Bitcoin. Most proof of work coins follow Bitcoin, but like as we talked about earlier, GeoNet, like some of these projects just provide data that is used really well, and sometimes this data doesn't get picked to be used until a certain time, which it goes against the market. Like DePIN doesn't follow the market like other coins usually do. So it's interesting. I really hope that, well, this is definitely going to set a precedent for DePIN because the lawsuit is basically saying that Helium Nova Labs raised millions of dollars from investors through its unregistered sales of securities in the form of hotspots. Hivemapper sells devices, GeoNet sells devices, Demo sells devices. All of these physical infrastructure networks have a device. Once this wins, not if this wins, once this wins, because this is total bullshit. I completely agree with you. It's going to set precedent, and it's going to legitimize DePIN. It's insane when you talk to people about crypto and they haven't even heard of any of this stuff.
No.
And if you go on CoinMarketCap, it's literally a tab. I'll show you.
Yeah.
It looks like it got bumped over, but right here, you can see all the DePIN projects. And this doesn't include all the DePIN projects out there, because there's a lot of DePIN projects that aren't on mainnet. CoinMarketCap only shows products or projects that have a token that is released on their mainnet. So there's a lot of projects. We've covered a couple on this stream that aren't on here yet. And if you look like the ranking, like the highest ranking we have for a DePIN project is BitSensor or BitTensor.
Oh, right. CAO.
But like a lot of these are ranked really low, and they have so much use case, and they're just their time will come.
I think so too. Someone said, "Do you think we'll see Cosmin? Do you think we'll see a 50-cent honey?" Look, man. Like, here's one thing I'll say about HiveMapper. They say they're starting to ship the B, but they have some customer announcements that's big. I think when retail comes in, and if it's something they can easily understand, and honey is on Coinbase, is easy to buy.
Yeah,
it's the DePIN version of Google Maps. That is a pretty easy concept to understand, and it's easy to buy. So I don't know. I think we could see it push up for sure.
When it got listed on Coinbase, it went up to like 30 cents a dollar.
Well, it went to 30. There's a bid.
The pre-trade, but it went high.
It spiked up for a second. Yeah, I think it really set an all-time high. I'd really consider like 34 cents. I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. With the bidding thing, it did pop up to like $1 or something like that. So we'll see. I think it's possible. One thing that we need to keep in mind though is the supply is massive. Like you look at like GeoNet's 1 billion tokens, Demo is 1 billion tokens. That's the traditional token supply. HiveMapper has 10 billion, and I think all their investor unlocks are now distributed as of this month, and employees will be by the end of this year. And that's, what is that? 4 billion tokens total. So, that's something to consider when you're looking at these price projections. Like, there's a lot of token circulation. But is 50 cents possible? I actually think it is, depending on how much this bull market hits. And, if we do see a heavy rotation into DePIN, I think it's possible.
I mean, even if you're looking at Trump coin, you're looking at these coins, they spike. Like HiveMapper could hit it. Is it sustainable? That's a different question.
Probably not.
It could hit 50 cents one day and then drop back down 30 cents. But I think that's the bigger question, is can it be sustainable? I think honestly, a lot of the people that want honey to go up, like myself, like you, we have pretty good bag in HiveMapper. Just from being in the project for so long. I mean, you have a fleet. Even in the bull market, you're still going to be earning because you have fleets in a couple different projects. Like, we're waiting for some of these to pop off, but we're not the only ones waiting. Like, there's a lot of other people that missed the first spike with HiveMapper, and I think there's this sell pressure from all of the employees and the investors. There's also going to be a huge amount of sell pressure. Every time the token goes up, it doesn't stay up very long. It comes back down because a lot of people are offloading tokens all the time. Yeah,
I think a lot of people that have been mapping were offloading tokens too. I don't know. I'm curious how many people are big holders. I mean, honey is still one of my largest holdings. Actually, GeoNet with the price action recently took over as my number one DePIN holding. It's over a
couple million.
I have no comment on that. I do have a large holding of GeoNet. But yeah, man, someone said, Coswood said, I bought the dip, but it was
good
story of everyone's life right now, man. Like it's like catching a falling knife, man.
I just did that with Bitcoin. It dropped down to like, and this is crazy to even say. I never thought these words would be coming out of my mouth, but it dropped down to like $104,000. And I said, oh, it dipped. Let me buy Bitcoin at $104,000. And then it dropped down to 98. I'm like, oh shit. It's still at $98,000. Like, this is just the fact that it's at this when people for all this time, I mean, I could guarantee every single person that is watching this stream has somebody in their life that told them it's a scam and it's going to zero. I mean, we covered it a little bit earlier in the stream. BlackRock has over almost they'll have 600,000 Bitcoin maybe by the end of this month because of how much they're buying. They're only 30,000 away.
Yeah. It's funny going into what you were just saying though about people. So I was telling people in the last bear market, when it was sitting in the 20s for a while, I was like, now is the time to be buying.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh no, man. Like, I think everything's over. Crypto's over. I'm like, no, buy. And I ran into one of these guys like recently, and it was up to like 65,000. He's like, oh man, I should have listened to you. It's like, it's going higher.
It's not too late.
It's going higher. Actually, back in August, I moved some funds into a BitX. It's a 2x leverage Bitcoin fund you can invest in like your retirement account, but you can't get liquidated. But I was like, buy now, man. Back in August, it's like no, and then it's up to like 100, and then I get these texts. They're like, I saw on the news there's a massive pullback in Bitcoin, like kind of like haha. I'm like,
yeah.
I was like, do you know what the price of Bitcoin is right now? And they're like, no. I'm like, look it up. And they're like, wait, it's at 100,000. Like, yeah. It's done a 5x since I told you, it would be a good time to buy it. But they just look at the media as like massive liquidations in the crypto market. It's like, yo, like, it's so funny. Like, to your point, we would have been jumping for joy that Bitcoin is at $100,000 like 2 years ago. I mean, like, no way. And now everyone's like super negative.
It's
when
insane.
We're sitting around, it's like, oh my God, I broke 100 again. It's like,
dude, it's $100,000. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, there's no other way to put this. I don't know how they can. They're selling the news and people buying the news. That's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to do one and the other.
I know, man.
It's $100,000 and the fear and greed index is at 50. I mean, clearly no one has seen that ever because this never happened before. But there's so much more momentum. The thing that I like Michael Saylor, one of he has 21 rules of Bitcoin. His 8th rule is that everyone gets Bitcoin at the price they deserve. It's acknowledging that everyone buys Bitcoin at the price they deserve based on their understanding and timing. Correct. Your friend is a perfect example of that. I mean, honestly, I bought a decent amount of Bitcoin, over $100,000, but I've had a lot from under $40,000. So like my average cost is still pretty low, but I mean, yeah, I wish I bought it earlier because I would have had much more.
Everyone does.
I'm looking at it like, I'm looking at it in the future. Like, I see the potential. The fact that there was an announcement earlier that they're potentially going to be buying 1 million Bitcoin, the US government holding for 20 years at the minimum.
Yeah.
That's like, how is this stuff not, we were saying it in the comments, like, there's no way this news that has been coming across our feed is representative of the price. There's a disconnect. Something is not right. I think it's that the market manipulation that Coinbase and Binance is doing, like that is the only explanation for it. Like,
there's no doubt.
Yeah. I think Bitcoin should be at 150,000 right now, easily.
Yeah.
The other thing is, though, this is where it's like kind of sketchy. Coinbase, obviously being the biggest crypto exchange in the US, they've also helped with regulation on crypto. They've helped pioneer regulation. They've worked with the government to help this kind of stuff. I'm wondering, because also a lot of major corporations buy Bitcoin. They have like a separate portal for people with insane holdings. It's like a whole separate thing. Like, you and I will probably never reach that level of having a custom dashboard and everything. But Coinbase is maybe they're doing all this, and Binance is doing all this to allow the government to secretly buy Bitcoin right now, because
front run the announcement. Yeah,
there's no way that they're going to announce this crypto reserve without having it already, without buying some of it already, because as soon as it gets announced, they know, like, these people aren't stupid.
Yeah.
The U.S. Secretary of Treasury, Scott Bessent, that just got confirmed. He worked under George Soros. Soros is not a stupid guy, so I'd assume Bessent is not a stupid guy. None of these people being confirmed, none of the people that are doing the confirmations, all these people understand this stuff, even though, on the news they might not act like it. But I mean, when it comes down to it, they're not going to announce it and then buy it, especially the way Trump. I know you're trying to get something in here.
No, you're good.
Especially the way Trump works, not just with crypto, but if you've watched any of his interviews, if you followed him, if you compare him to other presidents have done really stupid things when they get interviewed. Like they're ask what their plan is to solve a certain situation, and the president gives a step-by-step plan of what they're going to do. It's like, where's the element of surprise? And that's something that Trump is so keen on, is having this element of surprise. So there's no doubt in my mind that they are buying it right now without telling anybody, and then they're going to make the announcement, because it is all public. All this stuff is public. But the thing is, it's just an address at this point. The U.S. government hasn't been attached to this. The only the Bitcoin that we know of is the Bitcoin they seized from the Silk Road and a couple other stuff.
Correct.
So I'm honestly surprised if this is what is happening, and this is where it can also get tricky with Bitcoin addresses. You would be able to kind of see it. I'm sure there's someone that can monitor all this stuff, but if they are buying this insane quantity of Bitcoin, they can send it to 1,000, 10,000 addresses. They can split it up into fragments, so you can't really find it.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And also, like, I wouldn't be surprised if they're doing OTC. They're not doing market buys behind the scenes, but also
It's trading.
It's not just the U.S. BRICS. So Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. They've added a bunch of other countries to the mix. They're accumulating as well. They're actually trying to form their own currency backed by gold and Bitcoin. And this is I don't know if y'all have seen this. This is worth watching. I have this clipped in one of my videos. Oh, hold on. Let me turn the audio on here.
BRICS had a conference in Russia. There's 6 new members of BRICS this year. So BRICS GDP is now greater than the combined GDP of G7. Of the 6 new members, 3 of them, Argentina, the UAE, and Ethiopia, are now mining Bitcoin with government resources. So there is tremendous urgency outside of the US to find a way to circumvent the irresponsible fiscal policy that we've been running here in the US. In fact, Russia announced an initiative. Their sovereign wealth fund is going to invest in a regional initiative to build Bitcoin mining and AI infrastructure throughout BRICS, with an idea of settling global trade in Bitcoin.
So there's no doubt that this country's
you should watch that video, by the way, if you all haven't watched that. I lay out.
Link it in the chat.
Yeah, I'll put it in there. Yeah, man, they are accumulating. There's Swiss lawmakers that came out and they're like, the time to accumulate before the U.S. and BRICS start to go head to head to accumulate Bitcoin, the time is running out. Like, once the U.S. announces that they're buying Bitcoin,
it's going to
it's going to be crazy. Every country is going to start adding. You're going to have institutional buying out of control. It's going to be really interesting, man.
And the people, like, it pisses me off so much when people say, "Oh, well, who backs Bitcoin?" Who the hell backs the dollar except the government? If the government is backing the Bitcoin, Bitcoin is as good as the dollar. There, I said it. Like, they took it off the gold standard. So there's nothing backing it other than I'm getting really excited. I got to calm down. There's nothing backing it other than the government saying it's okay. So when the government buys Bitcoin, they're saying it's okay. Not me. Yeah. This isn't my financial advice. This is coming from the Oval Office.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we got, let's see, the gold standard got put in place really back in Bretton Woods, right? They had a global conference. They decided, because the U.S. at the time had like 80% of the global gold reserves at the time. So that's when the U.S. dollar got put into, it became the dominant currency. But then in 1971, that's when the gold standard ended. And ever since then, man, we've been just able to print, and look at our national debt, look at inflation. It's definitely a hedge.
We need something else to back. Maybe Bitcoin is the new thing that backs the dollar. But the thing that my buddy today at work brought this up. It was pretty interesting, because if you want to talk about long term, like a lot of people that get into crypto early on, the idea was that it's decentralized. The government can't be a part of it. And eventually, hopefully, it will replace the US dollar. But the US dollar is used in other countries. And when the US wants to get stuff done, Trump especially, they can put sanctions on the country against the US dollar. You can't do that over Bitcoin.
That's
You
right.
can't. So it'll change. I think short term, it's going to be complicated, but it's going to change the way that the whole world works if we transition to that. I really don't think we're going to get rid of the dollar, because you need something to convert to, just for people to understand math. Because like how much does this cost? How much does this water bottle cost? Like, oh, it's 0.01 Bitcoin. Like, how much is that today? Like, it's not going to happen. But as a store of value, it's 100% in the right place to take gold spot. I mean, what is it, $19 trillion? Obviously, it's not going to take gold spot, but I think
it will flip gold eventually.
Me being a conspiracy theorist here, I think gold is overvalued for store of value, because all of the electronics that we make now need gold, and gold is going to only be in more demand as time increases. And I think the companies that are making I'm going off the deep end here. I think the companies that are making all of this stuff, like, we don't know how much gold is in the world. We mine it, but eventually there's going to be a cap. Is it going to be in our lifetime? I don't know.
Probably not.
Yeah.
There's something like, I think it's less than 10% of the gold is actually used for manufacturing. Most of it's held. So it's a very small percentage. I don't think the US dollar is going to be backed by Bitcoin, but I think what they want to do, because look, there's no other national currency that's going to replace the dollar. It's just not going to happen.
Never.
Okay?
It's strong.
The only risk right now, and it still will take a long time, what BRICS is trying to do by creating a new currency that's backed by Bitcoin on chain, because people don't trust Russia, but if they have Bitcoin on chain, they can prove that they have a backing. That eventually could be a risk. If we buy Bitcoin and you're like, well, good luck, we own as much Bitcoin as you, that protects the US dollar. That prevents them from doing what they're trying to do. And I think that is what we're looking at right now, is like, okay, let's just diffuse the threat now. And I think that's why they're looking to accumulate. Didn't China just find a cave with, so there was a massive gold find recently. I think it was estimated that we had mined 70% of the world's gold, but we don't know what the gold supply is.
That?
Yeah. And if you want to, let's say you want to send $1 billion across the world with, how are you going to do that with gold? What's the cost going to be to do Bitcoin?
It's heavy, man. It's super heavy. Heavier than a Tesla. Well, it depends on how much you have. But.
yeah, man. So I think they're going to do it to protect the US dollar from any threat in the future. And I don't think that BRICS will be able to do anything anytime soon. Well, I will say China and Russia, like 95% of their trade is in their own currencies now. So OPEC is the reason why the dollar stayed dominant after the gold standard was ended, because everyone had to hold US dollars for oil trade. But countries are starting to go away from that too. So we've got to do something to protect the US dollar. And I think buying up Bitcoin is one way to definitely diffuse the one threat in the future.
Let me know if you can hear this.
Bitcoin would make sense as part of our strategic reserves is that we recognize other long-term stores of value and put them in strategic reserve. We have a gold strategic reserve. We have an oil strategic reserve. I think it is fitting that Bitcoin, now that is really digital gold, be included among our reserve assets. So I'm proposing in the Bitcoin Act that we purchase roughly 200,000 Bitcoin a year just by converting money we already have into Bitcoin and hold them for 20 years. If we did that with, say, 5% of all the Bitcoin that will ever exist, which is roughly 1 million Bitcoin, we could cut our debt in half in 20 years. And in the meantime, we would have an asset that's growing in value while our own dollar is decreasing in value. And thereby we could shore up the US dollar as the world's reserve currency. What that does is help us protect ourselves against inflation and protect the US dollar on the world stage.
Boom.
So,
dude, we have cheese. We have like a $3.4 billion cheese reserve.
When I said it in the beginning of the stream, that's weird. But a million Bitcoin, like you think about it, there's only 21 million ever made. Like I think people forget how much that actually, like what we were saying. Oh, dude, I'm getting so excited I can't even finish a sentence. But like a million Bitcoin, think about how much Bitcoin. You see these news stories pop up every single news cycle of someone who, the guy that has his Bitcoin hard drive in a trash
Landfill.
Yeah, landfill.
Yeah,
and he's trying to search to find it, all this stuff. People lose Bitcoin. People die. People have died from early on that didn't have their keys properly saved, and all that Bitcoin is lost. So realistically, like, yes, they will have 5%, but a lot of the Bitcoin is not able to ever be unlocked ever again because people lose keys.
Yeah, it's estimated.
This is perfect.
It's estimated that 17.6% is lost forever. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe forever. They need to upgrade the network so quantum computing doesn't eventually crack it, but they can do that.
Well, if they upgrade the network, the previous wallets will still be at risk, right?
Well, I've researched this. I thought so. Now, it's going to take a long time. They have to start the process, but apparently they can update it so that even the old wallets will be protected, but it's going to take like years for them to not have to shut down the network to keep it running while they're doing it. I believe it is possible based on the research I've done, but it's going to take time. They have to start planning for it. But yeah, so that's a big percentage that's lost. So that's something that hasn't been, like the 21 million hasn't even been figured into the price. Let's be real. But like this being lost is not figured into the price. I don't think either.
I don't think you should even think about including that 6.6% to be mined in an equation based off of how much Bitcoin BlackRock is buying. The supply is going to run out very fast. The open supply. And how many countries are there in the world? Like 171? I don't want to. Countries in the world. How many? 195 countries in the world today. And the United States obviously being one of the biggest, but there's Russia, there's China, there's India, insane GDP. If they all aim to get 1 million Bitcoin, first off, I mean, they can't. There's not enough based on how much is already out there in the hands of people. But the price is just going to go parabolic. It's going to be like anything we've ever seen. There's going to be generational wealth created in years, not decades.
Well, how about this? There's 58 millionaires in the world. 58 million millionaires in the world. That's not. I mean, that's enough for each millionaire to own like 0.4
billionaire.
Millionaires. So like,
that can't be right. There's only 58
million.
Oh, millionaires. 58 million millionaires.
Yes.
Okay.
So think about this. That means that no government's owned any Bitcoin. None of us lost. That means that every millionaire can only own roughly 0.4 Bitcoin. Okay.
And that's not including
Bitcoin
that's already lost or
the governments or anything. Like it's way more scarce than people realize. And the supply squeeze is coming. Like they believe it's 450 Bitcoin are being mined a day. Michael Saylor's purchase the other day was like nearly 3 weeks worth of Bitcoin mining of the total network he bought in one freaking day.
450 a day, dude.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah. And
then you see BlackRock buying their biggest purchase was 36,000 Bitcoin on October 29th, 2024. 36,000 Bitcoin.
Yep.
How many days is that?
Yep.
36,000 divided by 450. That's 80 days worth of Bitcoin. This is going to run out quicker. Yeah, this is going to be a lot quicker than people realize.
I was talking to my buddy Suburban Crypto about this just earlier today. MicroStrategy bought 10,000 Bitcoin just the other day. We did the math, and I want to say, what was it, like 3 weeks again worth of total mining, new supply coming online that MicroStrategy bought 3 weeks worth in one day. So like, yeah, man, the supply squeeze.
22 days. It's 22 days.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I know, man. It's crazy. It's
And these are like the only two big players that we know about. Oh my God. The SAB 121 being repealed or yeah.
the UAE apparently has purchased a lot too. So I don't know, man. It's gonna be fun. It should be a fun year. I know everyone's like all scared and everything, but I do believe. Not to say there aren't macro events that aren't great, And let's see what happens with the meeting tomorrow, the FOMC meeting, and what they do with rates. More so, I think what people are going to pay attention to. No one's expecting the rates to move. I think it's going to be, what does Jerome Powell say looking forward? What's the guidance looking forward? That's what the market's going to react to. But yeah, man, it's good. I think it should be a fun year. I don't think it's outlandish to see Bitcoin hit a couple 100,000 by the end of 2025. We'll see what happens, but we could have black swan events there. You never know. Nothing's guaranteed here, but
there's 3 million in treasuries. So that brings the number down to 18 million. If you just want to talk about like what's available, and then yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Jesus. And I feel like every other week we're seeing an article that okay, my screen. We're seeing an article that will say like this is everyone's holding, like the selling pressure keeps decreasing. More and more people are holding, they're buying and holding like long term. It's like the most addresses ever have held Bitcoin, or they're holding over a certain percentage. It's
evident when you see people moving it off exchanges. I mean, that means they're looking to hold generally. I mean, or maybe people learn their lesson not to leave their crypto on exchanges after FTX. By the way, I use exchanges to onboard or cash out crypto. I don't leave crypto on exchanges. It's a horrible idea.
I have to keep mine on until the settlement period with Coinbase and Kraken, but what is it, 7 days for it to clear from your bank, which is so funny because it's so funny. You have to wait. It's like, this is why crypto exists.
Yeah. Well, ACH is archaic as hell. I mean, that's why when our banking goes on a blockchain, you have instantaneous settlements. The ACH will be a thing of the past very soon. One other thing that I'm glad that the current administration is doing is they're basically nixing the CBDCs.
I like that. But it's dangerous for XRP. A lot of people are worried about that. XRP is a different thing altogether. Like there's crypto, I feel like the whole X is like Bitcoin maxis fighting with XRP maxis. Overall of it. Like that's pretty much all I see on my feed lately. And I'm not a big fan of XRP based on what I've researched, but I'm not like raining on anyone's parade for believing in it, because I mean, you don't know what's right or what's wrong, but there is clear evidence that XRP, I mean, they're missing like the first 30,000 blocks or so.
Yeah, that's weird.
It is, which is like, there was a database outage. I'm pretty sure that's their go-to response. And each block is built on top of the previous block. So it is there, but it's like unparsed or something. It's like they don't know how to decode the block. I'm like, you can't be a crypto project. You can't be a number 3 crypto project and not even have your Genesis block with the entire parameters of how the blockchain works.
Apparently you can.
Yeah.
I agree though. I think it's weird. I know some very smart people. One in particular, Sistine Research. He's had some amazing calls. I've made a lot of money from him over the last couple of years, but he thinks the XRP is going to flip Bitcoin's market cap. And he's calling for it, man. Like I know some very smart people calling for that. I personally find it hard to believe, but shoot, like you said, you never know, man.
I don't know if you can see if BlackRock is holding other tokens. I'm sure there's a site for it, but I just don't see with the amount of holdings that these people have, in order for them to, they would not be able to sell, like MicroStrategy, for example, they would not be able to sell all of their Bitcoin at once and flip it into XRP. It just wouldn't be possible. So I don't know though. I mean, I've been wrong before.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's why, like, yes, I don't like XRP. A lot of people shit on XRP, and I might like those tweets. That doesn't mean I'm not holding any of it. Like, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
holding some
hold.
too.
I'm gonna hold projects that are insane in their market cap because they could still go up. And I've held XRP since like 2017, so I've held it for a long time.
Yeah.
No intention to sell. I honestly forgot about it. The biggest concern I have, and the biggest concern I think everyone else should have, and I got to make a video on this, but like what you were saying earlier, people are offboarding their crypto. They're taking it, or not offboarding, off-ramping their crypto out of Coinbase, out of Kraken, out of Binance, any centralized exchange, and putting them on these things. And people don't know about these, and it's insane. Every new crypto cycle, you'll see people get burned by an exchange that falls. There's going to be an exchange that falls this cycle. It just happens. It usually happens towards the end of the cycle. I feel like FTX. There was FTX. There was Terra Luna. Terra Luna was insane. You could take out a loan of Bitcoin and use that to take out another loan of Bitcoin, and it literally built on top of itself.
You mean what our whole economy does?
Yeah, but it was so like it was just this fireball that just expanded, and people took out like 7-8 times loans on the same loan. So it was completely over leveraged. Is that the right thing?
That was wild. That depegging was crazy. The fact that we're still here after all that stuff that happened is actually crazy in itself, honestly.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing, I get paranoid with this kind of stuff, especially if you own a lot of crypto and you keep it offline, because if anything happens, it's gone.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
Get a hardware wallet, get a seed phrase storage wallet. All together, if you want to go cheap, if you're just holding Bitcoin, you can literally get this Blockstream Jade.
The titanium. Talk about the titanium one for the seed phrases.
I have one right here actually.
So this is interesting.
I've made videos on my whole channel. There's 91 people watching this, so I'm glad this is happening because people don't know about this. They spend their money, they put it all on this thing, and then they write their seed phrase down on a piece of paper. Guys, what are you doing? There is literally a whole sector in the crypto industry that people don't know about that make things like this. Now, it's hard for me to take the sticker off, but I'll try. But there's a bunch of these companies, and they pretty much make one for every use case. People want ones that are super big, like they're the size of a tablet. There's also ones that are round. There's also ones that are flat and tiny like this. There's also different ways to do it. This is, geez, that's really on there. It's not focusing, but you put your seed phrase on this. You stamp it on with a punch. There's ones where you can etch it on. They're made out of titanium. There's actually a website that ranks them all, but you don't really have to go to that website because I made YouTube videos on them that ranks them all, and you can see what they're tested against. They test them against acid, water, fire, and they all passed. They're titanium. This will outlive you and your children and your children's children as long as you keep it in a safe place, because at the end of the day, if someone does get a hold of this and they know what it is, they do have your keys. But at least if you have a home in California and your home catches on fire because of the forest fires that the government can't control, your seeds are safe. If you put it on a piece of paper, like let's say you keep both of these together in a safe, right? Keep them both in a safe. This is going to melt into this thing, but it's going to be good. Like you're going to still be able to read it and save your crypto. But if you just have this and written it down on a piece of paper, oh my God. If you have it written down on a piece of paper in like ink and you have a flood, forget it. If you don't have a waterproof, fireproof safe, which by the way, they're fire resistant, water resistant, water's getting in. You got to take better care of your assets. The amount of people watching this that have over $50,000 in crypto and keep it on a centralized exchange, or they keep it on this and then their seed phrase on a piece of paper, you gotta get it together. I'll post a link in the chat with like a bunch of hardware wallets. It's blockchain bay, a bunch of hardware wallets, and a bunch of seed phrase storage. And I highly suggest you guys check it out because, like I said, there's a bunch of different options for you. You might find something that you really like. Like this one is a little more DIY. It's old school. It's kind of what I don't know. It's just interesting. But they have some that are super easy. This is the crypto tag Loki. It actually just came out. But there's a bunch of them. So I'm gonna post this in the. Could I post
You
it?
should. Yeah, man, go for it. The other thing I'll say is you're gonna start seeing crazy APYs where they're like, "Oh, if you stake your crypto with us, we'll give you 20% APYs." If it sounds too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true. When you do that, they have access to your crypto. If they go under, you're screwed. So you start seeing these things that look too good to be true. It's good to question it. Okay.
I've been in those before. I mean, BlockFi. Granted, BlockFi, honestly, I feel like they just got the short end of the stick because FTX was invested in them, and they had like some of their holdings within FTX, so they just kind of got hit. They got pulled down as there was like a what do you call it when you like rope climb together? Like there was a rope that attached them, so FTX was at the top and they fell, and it just pulled down a bunch of companies with it. And BlockFi, I think, totally was one of them. But they had some insane APYs with their USDC. It was like at the time, 7%, 9%, really, really high. Way better than you can do with any bank. But they filed for bankruptcy.
Yeah.
And all your crypto got stuck there if you had it there.
It works when the market's going up.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't work when the market comes down. And that's the big problem. And people, 20% sounds amazing until you lose all your crypto.
There's a coin on Coinbase. I think it might be Graph. It offers like 11%.
If you
currently,
leave it on Coinbase. Problem is though, it's not like, well, your bank account does have FDIC insurance as long as they have the funding for it. It's $250,000 per bank, not per bank account, but per bank branch. But
it's Cosmos. Cosmos offers 15.3% APY.
That's wild.
But it's not a stable coin. It can go anywhere.
Yeah.
And I don't know how but right now it's $5. Last bull run it went up to 44. So
yeah, I used to own, I still probably own some Cosmos actually from the last bull run, but this guy said that XRP is going to $500. Okay, let's just do some math.
I heard that today. Oh yeah, I know what you're gonna do. You're gonna take the market cap and the price. Okay. You want me to share your screen?
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's
share the screen here. Okay, so we have what's the supply?
I love this.
So there's 100 billion. Let's just do this. 100 billion. Oh, yeah, that's not enough zeros. I got to turn my phone sideways here.
It's interesting. I've noticed that a lot lately too. Even today, when you talk to people about crypto, a lot of them mention XRP as the first one because somebody at work told them about it and they made a couple $100 on it.
Yeah,
it's the same exact story every single time.
If my math is correct, and market cap would have to be $50 trillion, which is freaking insane to think about.
That's more than the market cap of gold, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, the current global crypto, all of crypto right now, everything is 3.46. So I mean, it'd be what's the multiple of that?
The global supply of money in the world is 48.9 trillion as of November 2022. So it would have to surpass the amount of money in the world.
Yeah, I don't see it. I mean,
it would happen with inflation in 200
if they keep printing,
years.
Keep printing money, anything's possible. But it had to be 14 times, more than 14 times the total global crypto market cap. All of crypto had to be 14 times that to hit that price point. So, I think XRP can do well. I think it likely will do well.
It went up to $4 a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So.
500 seems like a long shot, but I'm not saying it's not a bad investment. I do think that XRP is going to have a good run here. And it did. If we look at the bear market, shoot, what did it get down to? I want to say like
$1. I don't think it ever went under $1.
Well, actually, in 20,
that was the first bull.
2023, it got down to 38 cents. 38 cents.
15 cents.
Yeah, so it got down there. Well, that was when the SEC was like, just trying everything they could.
Oh yeah, I mean, you couldn't buy XRP for.
Look at
the last time it spiked was the last time you could buy it on Coinbase. Like you've been able to hold it on Coinbase. I think receive it on Coinbase, maybe not. You couldn't sell it.
Yeah.
Or no, sorry, you couldn't buy it. You could only sell it, I believe. It was weird. And I think honestly, XRP is having this insane run up because it hasn't had the opportunity to have its day. It hasn't been in the light. It's been under SEC investigation for years. And now it's finally, this is like Bitcoin getting its first bull run. Like I feel like this is XRP getting its first like real bull run with no one trying to stop it. But this could be what brings out all of the bad stuff about it too.
Yeah.
We've never seen a coin this big. I mean, Litecoin, it's still around. It's ranked 20th, and they have a lot of potential. But it was ranked. It was like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, 1, 2, 3 for a very long time, and that would be like the only one that kind of fell off. But it didn't really fall off. Like the market cap stayed pretty much the same. Bitcoin and Ethereum just kind of took off on their own. I don't know what would happen if XRP. I mean, what do you think would happen if XRP fell off the map? How that would affect the crypto market? We saw it with FTX. It shook things up. We saw it with Terra. It shook things up, but it happened at the end of the market.
I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, I think the biggest risk, and we've seen the FUD around it a million times, is Tether. I mean, they just like moved their headquarters again. I like Tether to me,
and USDC. I mean,
it's shady.
Yeah.
By the way, before we jump into that, if it does flip, let's say XRP does flip Bitcoin's current market cap, and then we expect that it will go up, but it would be a $35 XRP if it flipped Bitcoin's market cap, which some people are calling for. So
what would happen to Bitcoin?
Yeah, that's a good question. Is that all new money funneling in? Is that people moving money out of Bitcoin into XRP? I don't know. I think that I think Bitcoin will continue to keep moving up. So we'll see. Tether, though, I remember, like I read through. Do you remember they had that lawsuit with New York? This is like a few years ago, and I read into all the documents, and like the big thing was like they weren't proving that they had backing for all of the Tether.
Yeah.
There's some shady stuff that happened there where like they like last minute move funds into certain accounts and like were able to show they had like backing in US dollars, but also in like certain like stuff they're holding. They're like, well, the value of this holding is like backing it. I think that Tether has done some shady stuff, and ever since some of the stuff that came up recently, we haven't seen a bunch of Tether being printed. We've seen USDC. I think USDC is much more trustworthy.
Tether, like the logo of Tether, it's just like I could see that on the front page of like a bankruptcy.
Yeah. The good news though, and this is where everyone like FUDs it so much. It's not a huge. I mean, it's a sizable percentage of the total market cap of crypto. But it's not like, I think it's like 5% maybe of the total crypto market cap. So it's not like it would rock the boat if it went under for sure. But if something happened, but I don't think it's gonna like end it.
Before what was it? Terra USD, before it depegged, no one was concerned about that. But I remember right after it depegged, everyone was looking into the other stable coins, and myself included, because I wanted to hold money in a stable coin versus holding it in crypto, because I wanted to wait for the market to come down, and obviously it's going to stay at $1. But I was like, oh shit, like it could depeg, and what's going to happen? Yeah. And I was looking at the probability of USDC versus Tether. Like it was it was a scary time because you really didn't know. Terra was around for a while and no one expected that to happen. And all of a sudden it was $1 and then it went 98 cents, 96.
Yeah.
And that was it. I mean, people lost. There were millions of dollars lost.
A lot. I know people that got caught up in that. I know, and still are waiting for their money. Another one, Celsius was another one, right? That guy just got put in prison for life. I think the CEO, or he got a huge sentence. I still like the fallout we had from that, and then I mean, it's just kind of crazy. But
there's definitely ones that we're forgetting about too, which is crazy. But FTX, I mean, I think FTX was bigger than Enron, and Enron was like the biggest scandal of the 21st century. And then we had FTX, and it's like not talked about a lot, but the amount of money that they had when they filed for bankruptcy was insane. Pi Network, interesting you say that, Noah, because that came up in conversation today. Pi Network, what was it? Launched by the people at Stanford. I don't want to say I don't get it. The idea behind it is that you use your phone's computing power to earn crypto. This is not the first time this has been done. If you guys have heard of Electronium, that's old school. That's going back a bit. That was aiming to do the same thing. So when I saw Pi Network do it, it became popular in 2018, 2019, 2020 because it was a crypto, but it was launched by Stanford people. So it was like, it's smart people. I don't know. They have a token price, which is weird. From what I understood today, they have a token price, and I've looked it up, but the token price doesn't, the token isn't live. Have you ever seen that before?
The token, they have a token price, but the token isn't live.
Yeah, I think what he meant to say was the token is live, but the tokens that they have in the app that they've earned, they might not be able to send them yet. I think that would make more sense. Because I look it up and it's live. It's $41 per token.
Oh, that's weird that there's value attached. Because like right now, if you have Arweave and you move into the AR Connect wallet, you earn AO tokens. They're not tradable yet, but you're accumulating the token. But there's no value associated with it as far as I know. So that is kind of strange.
Yeah, but there's
because how can you have a value if there's no market? The market decides the value. So what is it like? We're gonna pre-launch at this value, I guess, maybe that's what they're gonna launch at, and then let the market decide from there. I guess that's what they're doing. I don't know.
Dude, this actually doesn't even make sense because I guess I'm not wrong. It's not live.
Huh. Are you sure you're looking at the right Pi Network for?
Yeah, dude. Here, I'll bring it up. Oh, here it explains it. Please note that the mainnet has not launched yet, and the price displayed below for certain exchanges reflects the values of IOUs, and it may not be transferable across exchanges. That makes sense because HTX and Bitmart, like when I covered Grass on my channel, Grass wasn't live yet, but you could sell the testnet tokens for a similar thing. Yeah. Thanks, Johnny. Price doesn't mean anything at the moment.
That makes sense.
But he's like, my buddy had enough tokens. It was like over 10 grand at the current price. And I'm like, there's no way it's going to look at how little 230K.
Dude, I had Pi in the last market cycle. I didn't know that was I didn't know they're still around. That's interesting.
I don't know how they haven't launched main yet. Yeah. Like, what are they doing?
It's like Weather XM. They took forever, but they finally did it. I don't know, man. But yeah, I'm excited. February. Let's see if history repeats itself. We should be hitting the bottom here pretty soon, if not now. And February is when things start to, historically, in the 4-year market cycle, that's when things start to get exciting. Let's see what happens. I personally, these dips, that's what they do. They FUD the market. They suppress prices. I've been looking at this as like opportunities to DCA into my conviction plays. Again, I'm not spreading myself out like I did in last market cycles. I'm sticking to my conviction plays. taking a small percentage to go after the leading narrative to try to turn some big profits to funnel more into my conviction plays. And I think right now, AI agents are good to look at outside of DePIN. AI agents are interesting.
Dude.
And then,
speaking of AI agents, I don't know if you saw the latest Salesforce ad, and it had AI Force or something. They talked about AI agents, and I thought of you. I was like, "There's no way that." And then, sure enough, it was Salesforce. They're talking about it, so it's slept on.
Yeah, the virtuals I'll pull it up right now, actually. So why not? Virtuals was like the main one. They these have had massive pullbacks. So if it comes back, game got up to like 240 million. I want to say this one was up to like 700.
Yeah, we covered this
million
2 weeks ago, right?
We did. So these are way down. So if you're a believer in that they're gonna funnel back into these AI agents, this is an interesting play. Some of these it's worth maybe digging into and just seeing what your thoughts are. Creator Bids, another one. They just launched their token. So they've got some AI agents. This one, Bill and I, is actually being run by Dynex. So it's like quantum compute running this one. It's kind of interesting. What are some other ones? Let's see. There's Top Hat is another one. So the main platforms, all of this whole sector blew up in December, like really end of October, and then November, December, and it's really had a massive pullback. But I do think we're going to see a resurgence there. So it's worth taking a look at for sure. And then that other, you weren't watching earlier, this community coin. This is the only meme play I'm really in right now. I don't like memes, but again, this community coin was made 2 days prior to the Pump.Fund launch by the Pump.Fund developers. It's all on chain. It was on January 17th, a year ago. Stayed under wraps for a whole year until it bonded 4 or 5 days ago and kind of came out of nowhere. And the developer note, please serve for the community. It's it's possible they built this as a community token to eventually be found someday, sitting at what's the market cap now, 344. I think it was lower earlier. I don't know, it's a moonshot play. Meme coins are highly risky, but this has a good story behind it, and it's interesting at the very least. I wasn't sharing my screen, was I?
No, you were not.
Here we go. Share this tab instead. This is the one right here. So community coin. It's interesting, man. It's new. It was just found again, or after a year of being hidden. And again was created 2 days prior to the official Pump.Fund launch. I mean, if the narrative does come out, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if it does come out that this was the community token that was built by the team to be found one day, and it's behind the whole Pump.Fund thing, that's super interesting to me. But we'll see. I took a position in it. I've been DCAing in over the last week or so, just some moonshot play, small percentage of my portfolio.
I just threw $5,000 at it when you mentioned it earlier.
Shut up.
I lost it.
That's meme coins for you, man.
I don't know if you've been seeing on X. I don't know if you want to wrap things up, but on X, people have been posting trades that people have done into certain meme coins. And it's these accounts, you don't know who it is, but this address had $900,000 in SOL. They bought Trump coin at $68 and then sold Trump coin at $15, and they lost 80% of their worth.
I'm sure.
And then they put it in Vine coin. It was back to back. They tried to make it back, so they put it in Vine coin and they lost it. Lost it all.
Yeah.
Thanks for the exit liquidity. That's going around meme right now, as people are just providing exit liquidity because they don't understand. And I don't know why people do it, man. But it's money they have to lose. That person that lost $1 million, they probably have $100 million. It's nothing.
Well, there's a lot of bots trading now too. That you see on all these meme coins. There's these bot accounts that are constantly trading. But I don't know, man. Like you see a lot of them. So they pump, they dump. This is again. I like to look for things with a story, with a narrative, with some lore, and see where it goes. But majority of my focus is on DePIN, on the utility, on the teams truly building, driving revenue, making moves that are active. Right. I mean, that's what I'm focused on.
Yeah.
And Bitcoin, obviously, I have.
Demo's not one of those, man. They're not active at all.
It's just
I can't believe that.
Can't believe the price is where it's at with Demo right now. But
I love it, man.
Sometimes there's imbalances, man, and people are looking one way, and the teams are building, and eventually the price action catches up. So that's my hope, because again, I have a fleet of like 250 vehicles that I've built over the last couple of years. I've stacked a lot of Demo, and I've been holding, man. Like and I've interviewed the team several times, and it's
Waiting to crash the price when it goes up.
No.
You're the whale with the.
Get out of here! Get out of here!
I have macaroons, or I have two of them, and I've had actually issues with them the past 2 weeks. Like they just disconnect from the network and they won't reconnect. What I've had to do is reinitialize the setup with them, and then it says you can't do it because this vehicle's ID has already been paired, or this device has already been paired to this vehicle. And then it creates two vehicles, even though the one can't be paired, and then the original one connects again, and then I got to delete the second one. I'm not sure if anyone else has experienced that. But other than that, I mean, I like projects like that, man. It's just plug and play. There really is not much maintenance. HiMapper with their new camera, plug and play, easy. Helium, the projects that can be.
We hope it will be.
Yeah. Projects that can be plug and play have immense success. Crypto proof of work projects have immense success traditionally. I mean, Bitcoin being the clear example, because it's just so simple. You turn on a device, you have this computer run software. I mean, back in the day, when now it's all these ASICs, and it just works. It just mines. Like, that's it.
Yeah,
they succeed.
Yeah, I can tell you Demo is very passive, because I've had people that have like sold their cars and forgot it was in there. I'm like,
did you have to trace them down?
I text them like, hey, your car isn't registered in a few weeks. They're like, oh man, I forgot that was in there. No, I've had some I've just like lost, man. Like, it's just nature of the beast, man. It's not great, but it is what it is.
Sucks.
Cost of doing business.
Yeah.
You set up your DePIN as businesses. All my deployment businesses are separate LLCs.
Interesting.
And they're expense the equipment. So
I got to do that just for. I think I need to register my like crypto and everything, like my YouTube channel, maybe the website as like an LLC, just for liability stuff. I mean, gotta protect yourself, especially with all the financial advice that was given out tonight.
Yeah, he's kidding. There's
I am kidding.
Zero financial advice.
But
this is like our own personal opinion. Like, again, like we can look at historical market cycles. We can think that something is going to go one way. There is no guarantee, and crypto is risky. Like, people that think that it's going to just decouple from the stock market, maybe one day, but not right now. I guarantee you, if we have a stock market crash, the crypto is going to follow suit. Like,
yeah, it's all connected now. It's not the same as it used to be.
I mean, we saw it back in 2020, the flash crash happened. Shit, that would have been the best. Bitcoin dropped to like 3,500.
Oh well,
it is what it is. It is what it is.
And now I put in 30 grand at 100,000.
Well, you know what? I think there's me one day. We're talking about, oh man, it crashed to 100. We're gonna be like, oh my god, it like crashed to 350,000 today. Like these conversations are going to continue changing over time, and looking back in hindsight, it's gonna be like, oh man, well, I thought that seemed expensive and it wasn't. I think that's what we're gonna continue, at least with Bitcoin. I think in the future we'll be looking back at this time and thinking it was a golden opportunity. I
saw just the perfect message. You know what? I think I sent it in my group chat with my friends. So let me see if I can find it. Well, it's a bunch of stuff about the football games I got to get through. Oh, yeah. A 24-year-old will take out a loan to buy a lease on a $90,000 car, then have the audacity to say that they don't want to invest in crypto because they're worried about losing money.
Yeah.
The second, this is a known thing, the second you drive off the lot, the car starts depreciating. So, I mean, has Bitcoin depreciated? No.
Yeah.
It's appreciated. If they were to have put $90,000, now granted, it's a lease, so you're paying it over time, and you have the option to buy it at the end of the lease. But still, like if they were to put that same amount of money into Bitcoin, they would be able to buy 2 of those cars in the future. Who knows how long it will last? The perfect example is the Bitcoin pizza. I mean, every single year, there have been years where Bitcoin's been less, but on average, it's been substantially more expensive, this pizza.
Yeah. Well, the hope is that if he had 10,000 to spend on pizza, he had a lot more, and hopefully he hodled. There was a website you could used to be able to go to and just claim Bitcoin.
That's it. Yeah.
You just go
I
out
was
there
playing Minecraft.
yeah.
Yeah.
You like just click a button and claim 5 Bitcoin. just
Unbelievable,
because,
man.
You know, they're like, oh yeah, we're trying to get people to adopt it. Are you kidding me? Funny,
I
man.
was so stupid for a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
It's funny because I started my YouTube channel in 2010. I think I have a few videos like private from 2010. How was I that smart at that age to make YouTube video? I literally, like, one of my first videos, how to partition a hard drive. I was 10 years old or 12 years old at the time, whenever I made it. And I knew how to do that, I watched Bitcoin on the news. Like, I saw it. They brought it up now and then. Never in my head, I was like, let me see what this is all about. But I mean, as a kid, you're not worried about finances. You're worried about having fun, enjoying life. So
no doubt about it. And I'll tell you what, man, like, I think we all have those stories where we should have gotten it earlier, but we are still early.
you deserve the price.
That's right. And we are still early. And Butters, appreciate the high praise, man. Awesome. Always love to hear that people appreciate our insights. And we appreciate you guys for being in here. We had some pretty good attendance today, man.
Dude, 93 people watching is incredible. We got to start
good.
doing this on X every time we stream. Also,
No doubt about it. I think that's a newer feature. I don't think that was there before. But
no, I don't think so.
But with that said, man, we've been going for a little while.
Yeah, I gotta go to bed. Gotta wake up bright and early, go back to the city again.
Right on. Well, as always, we appreciate you guys, and we'll start doing these things more often. I was traveling quite a bit, but I've got a couple of videos I'm working on. I'm going to do one on Daba, which we talked about on here, and Exhibits, 2 projects that I'm super excited about. Token launches are coming up in Q1, so you're not late. I'm planning on, personally, not financial advice, but I am setting aside a good amount to get some sizable positions in those projects. I think they're going to do well. Other than that, I'm Ed and Arweave, baby. I don't know what's going on. They're crushing it. I'm not sure why it's so undervalued, but
yeah, I got some videos lined up. The biggest one being Trezor, because they sent these out to me, which is sick. So it's important every cycle that I make a video on these, just to make sure people know, because I get new subscribers all the time. You guys got to know about these hardware wallets. It will save your life if a exchange goes down. You don't want to be caught in this situation. I sound like a walking advertisement, but you don't want to be caught in the situation that thousands of people were in when FTX fell. So protect your crypto and get a hardware wallet today.
And by the way, if you're viewing from X, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channels, because we put a lot of videos out on there. We do post them to our X and stuff, but like, it's good to turn on notifications and stuff. And if you follow Chris, follow me, follow Chris. We put out a lot of different types of content for one another as well. So with that said, man, appreciate y'all, and have a good night, and let's get ready for February. I'm excited.
Let it ride. I feel like I'm at a blackjack table.